I think for the 12th session, we don't have the right to download.
Right to download, matlab?
Yes, sir, that recording,
So I have to
class
give
record,
some right to download as well.
Sir,
right?
actually you have, sir, actually there is an option in setting where you can make a class as the owner of the video. So
ठीक है.
they
So
can
yeah,
download
Pratik,
it from within.
we will discuss this after the class. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
हाँ. अब मुझे बताना क्या करना है वो तो.
Yes, sir. Yes.
हाँ. So we looked at how to import data. One data file. One of the file was CSV file, and right. So sometimes we find writing a code slightly overwhelming. People who are new to people who are new to R or coding as such. Even in fact, I don't have any IT background. So it is a good idea, better idea to use point and in some of the cases point and click option, right? So I demonstrated for CSV file what are the steps to be followed for point and click option, and then R generates the code. You just copy and paste the code into the console like this, what we have done, right? So we imported this data. So this is for us a project, one project, like building a predictive model of cross sell for selling term deposits. गुरकरण क्या मैसेज किया है आपने? हाँ हाँ, yes, you were audible, गुरकरण. किधर थे? Let me share the screen. You can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So with that, we created a project. Then we have this data set in the form of CSV file. So we imported that data set. Now this data file could be in Excel, could be in SAS, could be in SPSS. It could be a relational RDMS file, right? So there are codes or point and click options to import such kind of data. Even for a live URL, from a live URL, you can import the data set. Just I have posted one link in this in marketing analytics group on Microsoft Teams. I'm just open this link. I'm using this link in your system as well. You can open. Can you see this data?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, this data is on you. I mean, in the form of a in a live environment. So you have a URL, right? You can actually import this data also in R. So we will do this at a later stage. However, if you have, right, if you are seriously looking at analytics or machine learning profile, I would also suggest you guys to prominently look at two data sets. One is your Titanic data set. If you want, I can share that data. And the second is this Iris data set. And I will also share the description of this data set. But these two data sets are considered as classic data sets to learn machine learning and analytics. So since we are into a marketing analytics course, I'm not discussing these data sets, but discussing specific marketing problems in the course. But these, yes.
So we have done analytics on Titanic dataset in our QM1 project.
Okay, so that is great. But that you have built that in R as well, the codes and everything.
So we were required to do it in any platform, and we did it. Some of us did in R.
Yes, yes. So that these are two classic data sets, and you should have and all the machine learning models, and you use all the machine learning models, algorithms.
No, sir.
Yeah, right. So then so we in later part I'll discuss all those aspects as well. But right, these are two classic data sets, and one should have projects built in R for these two data sets, predicting in the context of Titanic whether you will survive or not, and in this case iris data set, what is the type of the flower of the iris. There are three types. So if you want, I can share these two data sets as well. But the point I am trying to make here is this data set is in the web environment in the form of URL, and you can extract this data, import this kind of data into R as well. I will demonstrate that again in later part. But let's come back to our problem. What we are trying to, yes, of course, we'll discuss this in detail, the data set, the variables, the business problem. But this particular bank is trying to sell term deposits to its existing customers. So that is a cross-sell model. Now we have imported the data. Now before actually exploring that data, there are two functions whenever you are handling projects is two commands, I would say, right? One is setting up your directory. Now in which directory in your system you need to set up a directory. Okay, now when you created a project in R, that by default has already set up the directory for you, right? But let us say at a later stage you would like to change that directory, change the directory and save whatever you are doing at some other location. Okay, so the command for setting up the directory is set wd within brackets. Okay, so you can write it in your notes or somewhere else. So set wd, and the second command is you would like to, you don't know what is the working directory for your project. To get to know the working directory of your project, then you use get wd within bracket, so and run this command. So let's do this. You have already created up the project. Okay, now just use this command get wd and run the command, and it will tell you where you have created your project. Now all your whatever that you save, whatever projects that you create, whatever files are code files that you create, okay, will be saved in this particular directory. So everyone please run this command. And let me know the output.
It is showing the file location.
Yeah, so that is the working directory that you have created. Okay, now let us say if you want to change this directory. Okay, so then what you have to do,
Files.
set working directory, and within double quotes you will give the path here. Okay, and that will change the directory, the location of your file. I hope that is clear. Okay, now another way, if you don't want to write the code, then the point and click option is you click on session, click on set working directory. Okay, then click on choose directory. Now what I am doing, I am for me this is the directory I would like to set up, right? So and then I click open. This sets me the directory. So what I have done, so the only thing You just need to copy this and paste this here. If you are writing code and if you want to use a point and click option, then click on session, set working directory, location, the folder that you would like to set up as a working directory for your project. I hope there is a clarity on this. Yes. Should I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So now this command we have run, right? We have imported the data. What is the file name of the data set?
Raw data set.
Right. Now we would like to keep this raw data set as it is, whatever changes that we make, right? We would like to make that changes to a new file. So we are just renaming the file. Data set run the command. Okay. So what we have done here,
We created a vector named dataset.
we created a data
Data
frame,
frame, sorry. We created a data frame.
right? So we created a data frame. What values this data frame is storing?
All the values
The
in the
bank cross-sell data.
Right, the same data set, the same data which the file raw underscore data set has, the same data this file also has. Now you can look at the right hand side of your global environment, and in the global environment this right, it carries the information of the data. So basically it is this same data set. Now whatever changes that we will make to the this particular data set, and we'll keep that original data, right? Now the next thing is your data exploration. Next step in building your predictive model. Okay, so we use str function. We can also have a quick look at the head and tail. This is just for the sake of checking the consistency in the data set. Right, so we'll first see the head. We can also, now these are the three commands, right? आपने ये आपके notes में जहां भी आपको लिखना, I'll just show you how I do it. Now this is my cheat sheet. Now कुछ भी whatever, अगर मुझे कोई कोड याद नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ नहीं आ रहा है, तो this is how I have created my own reference sheet. Okay, so I quickly go and search in this document and I get the command. So this is how you should also create. So reading a CSV file, one is this, the process, or the other way is this. This is the command. So I get to know now if I'm using this, if I want to import some other CSV file, I have a ready code. I just adapt the name and use this, right? Now what I have done, I have listed all the commands here sequentially, whatever the commands that are required for building a predictive model. And this is like a ready reference sheet, or you can say cheat sheet for me. Now if I am building a new project, I refer these commands sequentially. Okay, now the variables change, the business problems change, the data change, however the approach and the commands that you require, it remains the same. No matter what project you are handling, no matter the problem is either from marketing or finance or from operations or HR, the approach, the command that you will require will be more or less same. Okay, so I'm running this. So you can use one more. So these are 4 commands. This view command is to view the data set. Now, let us say first we will view this data set. Now, when you run this command, this data set opens in another window in our console, our studio. Right? So you get to know, okay, you have column customer ID, age, job, education, default. Now, all this description is there in the now this is the case and the description and the details about the variables given in the data set. So balance, what is the balance in the account, whether the customer has taken housing loan or not, whether what kind of contact, what day of the month, what was the duration of the call, the campaign number, what was the previous outcome, and whether the prediction, whether the customer will respond to telephone call and accept term deposit or buy term deposit from the bank. Okay, the detailed description is given in this data set. Right, so then we run this command and we get the details. So how many observations we have?
4,521.
And how many variables we have?
18.
18 variables, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
then what we have to do is now the first thing before we actually start analyzing the data is to identify the type of variables in your data set. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, customer ID. Tell me whether it is a numeric data or a categorical data or a nominal data.
It should be nominal data.
Right here, but it is telling us it is numeric in nature. Haji. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this customer ID is
18.
categorical or nominal in nature, but here it is telling us okay it is numeric in nature. तो फिर क्या करना चाहिए?
कैटेगोरिकल बनाना पड़ेगा.
Right. So we have to tell R, okay, this is not numeric data, but this is a categorical data. Okay. So then we have to do some kind of data transformation, right? Or change the variable type, change the data type, variable type in the data set. Okay. Now the command for that, now the other thing I discussed in the last session, right? Now generally as far as business data is concerned, okay, in R Studio, you have factor data. Now this encompasses your character data as well. Okay, and you have numeric data. Now this encompasses your integer data as well. Okay, and you have logical data. So basically what you will do, when you change your variable type or data type in R, you either convert the data into factor or numeric or logical. Now go to the data set. Okay, now tell me the first variable is your customer ID. Now R has read it as numeric. However, this is a character or factor data. Okay, now to tell R, okay, this is a factor data, the command for that is as dot factor. Okay, is there a clarity on this? Now if there is some other variable, right, and R has read it as integer, right, and you want to convert that into numeric, so again the command is as dot numeric. Similarly, if you want to convert that data into logical data, as dot logical. I hope there is a clarity on this. Okay, then let us say you want to read a column from the data frame, which means you want to read a specific column in your tabular data. Okay, now our data set is name has data set this. Now let us say you want to read a very specific column or a variable. Now that column or variable, let it be age. Now within that data set, if you want to read age from that data set, okay, you need to use a $sign here. Okay, and the name of the variable. Run this command and tell me what output you get.
Sir, only age of the age that contained in the dataset.
Right, so
It's showing.
all the age values you have got as an output.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right, now now just list down the variables in the data set for me. The first is your customer ID. Second is age. Third is what?
Job,
Job,
Job. Then fourth,
marital,
marital status,
marital status. Fifth,
education, education,
education. Sixth,
default,
default.
default,
Whether the person has defaulted on loan or not. Yes. Next,
balance,
come
balance,
again. Come again.
balance,
Balance in the
bank balance,
account.
sir, balance,
Yeah, bank balance in the account. Then
housing, housing,
housing loan, whether he has taken a housing loan or not. Then just loan, whether taken personal loan or not. What else?
contact,
Contact. Then
day,
day,
month,
month,
duration,
duration,
campaign,
campaign,
P days,
P days,
previous,
previous,
P outcomes,
P outcome, previous outcome. Okay. And why?
then Y. Last
Why?
one.
Whether
Yes, sir.
he will accept the term deposit or not. Now,
Yes, sir.
in the output, when you have ran this str function, you have to tell me what R has read. Now, R has read customer ID as numeric. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes,
what
sir.
has okay, तो अब एज के लिए
Yes, sir.
ऐसे बाकी सारे वेरिएबल्स के लिए बताइए.
Numeric.
Age
Age is
numeric,
also
sir.
numerical, sir.
Age numeric. Job. What about job?
Character.
Character. Marital status.
सर अभी कैरेक्टर है, फिर एजुकेशन भी कैरेक्टर है,
Correct.
डिफॉल्ट कैरेक्टर है,
एजुकेशन भी कैरेक्टर है, डिफॉल्ट भी कैरेक्टर है, बैलेंस
बैलेंस न्यूमरिक है,
न्यूमरिक है, हाउसिंग,
कैरेक्टर,
लोन,
कैरेक्टर,
कॉन्टैक्ट,
कैरेक्टर,
ओके, डे,
न्यूमरिक,
न्यूमरिक, मंथ,
कैरेक्टर,
ड्यूरेशन,
न्यूमरिक,
कैंपेन,
न्यूमरिक,
पी डेज,
प्रीवियस भी न्यूमरिक और प्रीवियस भी न्यूमरिक,
ओके, एंड
पी
पी
आउटकम
आउटकम,
कैरेक्टर,
हाँ,
कैरेक्टर और वाई न्यूमरिक.
वाई न्यूमरिक. नाउ see, the first thing is to verify what kind of variables you have. Okay, now customer ID, here R has read it as numeric. However, we want to classify that as factor in R. Does everyone agree with this?
Yes, sir.
तो इसको convert, though we can ignore this because this is just an ID. Okay, age. Now just see the values of age and help me understand whether it is numeric or not. The value it takes in the data set. Open the data set and tell me the values it takes and whether this classification is correct or not.
सर सही है.
So it's correct.
Yes, sir.
Right?
It's correct.
33.
Let's, yeah, so now let's move to jobs.
सर जॉब में उसने लिया तो वो है कैरेक्टर.
हाँ,
लेकिन
now
उसने
quickly
ID
अगर
पास नहीं
आपको
किया.
let us say, now इसमें आपको quickly पता करना है कि आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा है क्या है इसमें के अंदर. So you use this command level. इसमें levels नहीं, okay. हाँ, सॉरी, ये जो आपने स्ट्रक्चर कमांड जो रन किया है, okay, we have to still run frequency, but now here also see the values it takes. Okay, now it is a character data, some or it is a categorical data,
Categorical.
right? So the only thing that we have to do here is R को बताना है कि just for consistency or uniformity sake you have to convert this into a factor variable, right? Similarly, marital status would be a nominal data. Again, convert this into a factor. Education, what values it takes? Right, so primary, secondary, tertiary education. So again, we have to convert this into factor variable. Default again is a factor, whether you have defaulted or not defaulted, yes or no. Balance is money, how much money you have. So we don't have to do anything here. We don't have to do anything here. Housing we have to convert into a factor. Loan we have to convert it into a factor. Just see contact. Contact की क्या values लेते हैं?
Yes, sir. It's factor.
Factor, no?
And what values it is taking?
Cellular or unknown.
Okay, so then again it is a factor. Now tell me what about this day? Is it numeric or is it categorical, nominal in nature? Is it numeric or is it factor? वो description पढ़िए case में and help me understand whether this is numeric data, continuous data, or a categorical or nominal data.
So it should be nominal, sir.
Why? Who is this?
Sir, Prabhat.
Yes, Prabhat, why?
Sir, means day, it is the date of like particular day, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is no order between them, like one is day 1 is greater than day 2. So it should be nominal.
Exactly, right? So then we need to convert this variable into factor. Right? When they are talking about day in the data, it is date 1, first day of the month, second day of the month, third day of the month, and so to say 30th day of the month. Now these dates, there is no order. Though they take a numeric value, but it is a categorical in nature. I hope there is a clarity on this. Everyone, class. हाँ कुछ रिस्पॉन्ड कर दीजिए.
Yes, sir.
Right? So yeah, so similarly month again is a factor. Duration. Just look at the values of duration in the data set.
Sir, it should be numeric, right?
Numeric.
Yeah, so first tell me what kind of values it is taking. What is the unit of that value?
The number of days.
Duration.
हाँ तो number of days ही ले रहा है ना 79 220.
See duration क्या है? Description पढ़ो पहले variable का.
सेकंड
मुझे
है सर.
हाँ सुधांशु था ना ये कौन था?
यस सर सुधांशु सर.
हाँ सुधांशु क्या था ये डेटा में?
सर वो सेकंड में बता रहे हैं.
Right. So the date, and so what do you think this variable is?
सर ऐसे तो टेक्निकली न्यूमेरिक है बट
नहीं पहले वो वेरिएबल को समझो. वेरिएबल क्या है? Help me understand what is this variable. What are they measuring?
हाँ सर वो ये देख रहे हैं कि कितने देर तक वो कस्टमर्स बात कर पा रहे हैं उससे.
कहाँ पे क्या कर रही है लोग? कैंपेन रन करते वक्त क्या कर रहे हैं?
सो दे आर ट्राइंग कि वो कस्टमर को वो लोग टैप कर लें.
See when they are running the campaign, what they are doing? They are calling the customer to sell the term deposit.
यस सर. सो जितना ज्यादा समय लगेगा बातचीत में उतना ज्यादा एश्योरिटी होगी कि कस्टमर हमारे साथ आ जाए या हमारे टर्म प्लान को खरीद ले.
So that is your hypothesis, Sudhanshu. You have got into developing the hypothesis for your model building. So this is the call duration for that cross sell campaign, and they are recording that call duration. Now as Sudhanshu is telling, higher the call duration, higher the probability or higher the chances that the customer will accept the term deposit. So that is the hypothesis.
Sir, but the case mentions that it should be discarded.
It should be see वो
It
case
should
बोले
be
कुछ भी
included
बोले.
only as a benchmark purpose.
It should be included as.
For only benchmark purpose.
Just wait. कहाँ पे लिखा है?
Sir, I think वो ये कह रहा है कि अगर इसी चीज को कॉल ड्यूरेशन खुद को कॉल ड्यूरेशन का पुराना डेटा यूज करके आगे प्रेडिक्ट करें तो डिस्कार्ड करें, हमारा तो पर्पस ही अलग है ना, हम तो वो वाई को देख रहे हैं, तो तब हम यूज कर सकते हैं।
नहीं नहीं ठीक, देखो ये दिस इज लाइक अ डिस्क्रिप्शन, अभी जरूरी नहीं है कि ये जो बोल रहे हैं हम वही करें। फर्स्ट थिंग नाउ द वी हैव टू आस्क दिस जो आर्ग्यूमेंट हम दे रहे हैं और व्हाट सुधांशु हैज टोल्ड, डज इट लॉजिकली अपील टू अस?
काइंड ऑफ सर।
Yes, right,
Yes, sir.
exactly.
वो कौन है?
And I'm telling you, this is used as an important metric in all kinds of business. Okay, अगर and I know for this for sure real estate में ये benchmark use होता है। Now when real estate में कैसे करते हैं, first visit होने के बाद they again take a follow up call and they call up the customer. Agar the customer picks up the call and calls for a significant amount of time, there are very high chances that the customer will book the apartment. Okay, so you have more interest in the project. Let us say you are visiting a car, a dealer showroom. जितना टाइम आप ज्यादा स्पेंड करेंगे कार के फीचर्स को चेक करने के लिए, कार को चेक करने के लिए एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, higher chances that you will purchase that car or you will book that car. Now what do you think, why these all these car dealers, they arrange for a test drive? Okay, there is a significant difference between customers who take test drive and customers who don't take test drive and their conversion, right? So customers who take test drive have higher proportion of conversions as compared to customers who don't take test drive, right? So this is an important variable for us. Now it remains to be seen whether this particular data set supports our hypothesis or not when we build our model. I hope there is a clarity on this.
हाँ सर, मतलब अब उसको लेकर के अपन यूज तो कर ही सकते हैं।
Yes,
अगर उसकी सिग्निफिकेंस हुई मॉडल के हिसाब से तो
right, नहीं तो हमारे पास उसका डेटा है, या we have the data. So without testing or without analyzing, we should not discard any data that is available to us. Right? So right, so duration is, now this duration is given in seconds. Okay, so that is a continuous variable, so we need not do anything here. Now let us go to that campaign variable. कैंपेन वेरिएबल बताओ क्या है? और क्या वैल्यू ले रहा है?
सर नंबर ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट्स बता रहा है कि कितनी बार कॉल किया हमने उससे।
राइट, सो अगेन दैट इज अ कंटिन्यूअस वेरिएबल, सो न्यूमेरिक इज हियर आल्सो, वी डोंट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग. यस, देन पी डेज. What is P days? Number of days that passed by after the client was last contacted from a previous campaign. Have you understood what kind of variable is this?
हाँ, ये मतलब कि लास्ट टाइम जितना जितना बड़ा होगा उतना अपने लिए वो है नेगेटिव।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, see this, हाँ, I'm asking what is this variable?
हाँ, तो ये बता रहा है कि लास्ट टाइम हमने कब कांटेक्ट किया था, कितने दिनों पहले।
एग्जैक्टली राइट, लेट अस से हाँ, किसी कस्टमर को 15 डेज पहले किया है, किसी कस्टमर को 30 डेज पहले किया है, किसी कस्टमर को 45 डेज पहले किया है. ओके, सो अगेन वी आर फाइन विद दिस, दिस इज अ न्यूमेरिक डेटा. देन हाँ, नेक्स्ट व्हाट इज प्रीवियस?
वो बता रहा है कि ये कैंपेन रन करने के पहले हमने कितनी बार उससे कांटेक्ट किया था,
राइट?
ये भी न्यूमेरिक है,
ये भी न्यूमेरिक है. उसके बाद आउटकम, पी आउटकम, आउटकम ऑफ द लास्ट कैंपेन,
तो कैटेगोरिकल है, वो बता रहा है कि कैंपेन इसके पहले वाली कैंपेन थी उसका क्या आउटकम था.
ओके ओके, तो ये हो गया फैक्टर, ठीक है. एंड ये y जो है, y न्यूमेरिक है या फैक्टर है?
न्यूमेरिक है सर, नहीं मतलब होना बाइनरी चाहिए, बाइनरी लॉजिस्टिक,
बाइनरी मतलब फैक्टर, राइट? राइट, अभी ये पहले तो हमको ये करना है कि जो हमको ये डेटा टाइप चेंज करना है डेटा सेट के अंदर, ओके, तो वो डेटा टाइप को चेंज करना है, इसको हम इग्नोर कर देते हैं, पहले वाले को, कस्टमर आईडी को, ठीक है। नाउ एज के लिए हमको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। देन द नेक्स्ट वेरिएबल इज जॉब, ओके, सो जॉब को हमको फैक्टर में कन्वर्ट करना है। सो द कमांड फॉर दैट, ओके, एज आई टोल्ड यू, as dot factor is the command. This is the command. Now we want to change this particular variable. Which particular variable? From the data set, as I said, a specific column, specific variable, and that variable is job. Okay. Now we want to change this in that particular data set. So this is how your command will look like. Now I run this command. Okay, then I again look at the, this is हमको समझने के लिए मैं ये कर रहा हूं, ऐसा वैसे जरूरी नहीं है ये फिर से कमांड रन करना. What I am checking, what I am trying to demonstrate is, see this change. Has this resulted in change? Class?
हाँ सर.
Right? Others, please respond.
फैक्टर हो गया है वो. हाँ.
Right? Please respond. Other. चैट बॉक्स में रिस्पॉन्ड करो, आप कर रहे हो नहीं कर रहे हो तो.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Just respond in the chat box. Now you will have to repeat this step for all other variables which we would like to change. मतलब ये तो as of now मैं हटा देता हूं इसको. just what is the next variable we would like to change? marital status.
Marital status.
Okay. Similarly you will do for the other. Just do this now, repeat this exercise. इससे थोड़ी सी practice भी हो जाती है.
सर
Do this
ये
next for education. Yes.
हाँ सर ये रन करने से फिर हमारे डेटा सीट में फिर वो चेंजेस आ जाते हैं ऑटोमेटिकली.
yes. तो वो डेटा सेट में चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, नॉट रॉ डेटा सेट में.
अच्छा ठीक है सर.
राइट.
यस.
If you want, you can create one more data set, right, and then assign that value. Do this for education, default, and housing, these three, and then I will share the commands for the other variables, and you can run the command. And then we'll move to the next aspect. Do this till for education, default, and housing. And post that code in the chat box. अगर आपका हो गया है, and if you have run the command, post that code in the chat box. मुदित ने आइडिया दिया मुझे. I will take 2 minutes break, okay? So I have received only 10 responses, 10 to 12 responses. What about others? Anyone here with a coding background? So people who are not doing, I am posting the code, right, for other variables as well. Now you can copy this code and run this command. Generally what I do, even for numeric variables, sometimes R reads it as integer. So I also run that command for all the variables in the data set, but that is not required. However, अभी आप लोग ये कोड कॉपी करके आपके R स्टूडियो में पेस्ट करके एक लाइन you should run that command. And just to tell you, this class participation marks, okay, at least for the second half of this course, in the end, right, we created the first project was getting started in R. The second project is your cross sell for term deposits, and subsequently we'll do more projects. Now I will ask you guys to show me the projects that you have created on your system and the R codes. Now if you show me all the projects and the R codes, you will get all the marks for class participation. I hope that motivates you guys to do this, run the command and R codes, if not the importance of learning R. So ये मैंने जो मैसेज पोस्ट किया है, right, just to save time, you can copy and run the command and just let me know whether you have run all those commands.
सर एक बात पूछना था सर, जो हम हेड लेते हैं, हेड रॉ डेटा और टेल रॉ डेटा,
हाँ,
सो रॉ डेटा में सर वहाँ पे ऊपर में सॉर्ट का ऑप्शन भी रहता है.
यस.
सो सर वो सॉर्ट अगर मैं चेंज करूंगा तो वो भी चेंज होगा, राइट?
यस. आप ऑर्डर चेंज कर रहे हैं ना, तो बेसिकली लेटर आपने सॉर्ट किया असेंडिंग या डिसेंडिंग में किसी एक स्पेसिफिक वेरिएबल यूज करके. लेटर से यू आर यूजिंग बैलेंस एंड आपने ऑर्डर क्रिएट किया असेंडिंग और डिसेंडिंग, राइट. सो जो मिनिमम बैलेंस है वो ऊपर आ जाएगा और जो मैक्सिमम बैलेंस है वो नीचे चला जाएगा. सो हेड एंड टेल में यू विल गेट हेड में you will get first 6 minimum balances and tail में you will get corresponding values for highest balances.
Yes sir, got it sir.
Right. Should I move ahead?
Yes sir.
हेलो सर.
ये पेस्ट करना है जो मैंने भेजा था और इसको yes wait, I'm coming to you. Yes, I'm coming to you. Basically ये अभी तो आपने ये पेस्ट करना है, बट प्रैक्टिस के लिए ना, you have to continuously practice and practice and practice. Only then you will get. ये don't get disheartened कि पहले टाइम नहीं आ रहा है, सेकंड टाइम नहीं आया. If you are completely new, you will struggle. And I'm telling you, I have also struggled. And the other problem is, see, I learned the R 6 to 7 years back. So that time I was very good in SPSS. I was also good in Excel. And this question again, the way Mudit was asking कि क्या जरूरत है R learn करने की. And 7 years back, we did not realize the importance of learning R or Python. And in today's world, almost everyone, right, demands either R or Python as a skill, right? So you should keep that in mind also. Yes. Someone was asking a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes. हाँ
Sir,
Manish.
Manish here. Sir,
हाँ
actually, sir, age, balance, duration, these are all
हाँ
already in numeric. Then why we have to transform it?
मैंने अभी बताया ना मनीष, मैं जस्ट वो हर वेरिएबल के लिए कर देता हूं
सर,
मनीष.
सो अगर नहीं करेंगे तो भी ओके है ना सर?
कोई फर्क नहीं, कोई फर्क नहीं. नहीं, कभी कभी कैसा होता है ना, आर वो डेसिमल नंबर्स जो है ना वेरिएबल्स को इंटीजर क्लासिफाई करता है,
यस सर.
INT, राइट. तो आई प्रेफर ओनली वन स्पेसिफिक कैटेगरी, राइट. सो वो इंटीजर को भी आई कन्वर्ट इनटू अ न्यूमेरिक वेरिएबल.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it, sir.
Right, integer variable are a subset of numeric variable.
Yes, sir.
Right, so that is the reason. अरे वो करने की जरूरत नहीं है, but since सारे variables को कर रहे हैं, so I generally do it.
और सर से if numeric category में by mistakenly alphanumeric entries आ गई है, तो वो केसेस में भी वो कन्वर्ट कर लेगा ना?
सी अगर वो अल्फा न्यूमेरिक वेरिएबल में अल्फा न्यूमेरिक एंट्रीज आई है, तो पहले तो वो डेटा एंट्री रॉन्ग है, रॉन्ग डेटा है.
यस सर.
Either you have to clean up that data, remove that data, and then proceed.
So आइडेंटिफाई कैसे करेंगे सर उसको?
हाँ, तो आइडेंटिफाई है. यस, गुड क्वेश्चन. लेट अभी अभी वो वैसा डेटा फिक्टिशियस क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा, एंड देन मनीष ये मैं नेक्स्ट क्लास में डिस्कस करूंगा.
सर वैसे बेसिकली जब हम वैसे डेटा को सर जब हम वैसे डेटा का स्ट्रिंग देखेंगे तो वो तो पहले ही बताएगा ना कि कैरेक्टर है इसमें. ऑल्दो हमें वो न्यूमेरिक दिख रहा है तो हमें समझ जाना चाहिए कि उसमें है कुछ.
नहीं थी, हम ऑपरेशंस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखना है. हम अभी इमीडिएटली क्विकली एक डेटा सेट क्रिएट करेंगे एज का, राइट. उसमें 9 नंबर न्यूमेरिक डेटा डालेंगे और 10th नंबर अल्फा न्यूमेरिक डालेंगे और उसको एनालाइज करेंगे, एंड विल सी व्हाट आउटपुट वी गेट. ठीक है?
यस सर.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move. I'm assuming that you have run these commands. Now अभी आपका so now अभी हम लोग R की टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज करेंगे. फैक्टर, this implies nominal variable, categorical variable, character data, everything, and numeric variable. This implies interval, यहां पे मैं लिख देता हूं nominal or ordinal if there is an order, categorical, character. All of these data types in R we are calling them as factor. Numeric, interval, ratio scale, continuous variable, integer data. All of this in R we are calling numeric. Okay, now help me understand, फैक्टर डेटा को मीन और स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन रहेगा क्या? बताइए. बताइए.
सर नहीं रहेगा सर.
क्यों नहीं रहेगा? क्या रहेगा फिर?
ऑर्डिनल है तो 1 2 3.
क्या रहेगा फिर? मीन और स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन नहीं रहेगा तो क्या रहेगा?
तो जस्ट वैल्यूज रहेगी जो उनकी है।
तो जब अब फिर हमको वो वेरिएबल को एनालाइज करना है, एक्सप्लोरेटरी डेटा एनालिसिस करना है, तो हमने क्या करना चाहिए फिर?
सर उसको फिर न्यूमेरिक में ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकते, असाइन कर सकते हैं वैल्यूज।
हाँ, बट
फिर
स्टिल
उसका स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन वगैरह निकाल सकते हैं।
वैसा पॉसिबल है? इज दैट करेक्ट अप्रोच, मनीष?
सर आई डोंट नो सर।
ओके, समवन एल्स? हाँ बताइए, मीन और स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन अगर हम नहीं कर सकते हैं फैक्टर वेरिएबल का, तो क्या करते हैं? एनालाइज क्या करते हैं? लेट अस से जेंडर और एजुकेशन डाइवर्सिटी इन योर बैच. The diversity, let us say, is engineering graduate, commerce graduate, architecture and XYZ. तो ये इस टाइप के डेटा को एनालाइज करने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए फिर? राइट? हाँ बोलिए। ये तो बहुत बेसिक है। यस, फ्रीक्वेंसी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन देखते हैं हम लोग। प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड।
Yes, sir. So we can count them. How many engineers are there? How many graduates are there? Commerce background.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So for factor variable, we will always do initial exploratory data analysis, frequency distribution. For numeric variable, we will calculate mean and standard deviation. ठीक है? Now the command that we will use for frequency distribution. Okay, let us say job, data set, job. Okay, the command for that is table. Run this command and tell me the output. हाँ जी, so exploratory data analysis of categorical or factor variable. Table, data set, are you getting this kind of output?
Yes sir.
Everyone, I am also
No
posting
comment.
this code in the chat box. Just copy this and run this command. Do this for other categorical variables, factor variables, so to say. Now we know there are see here in jobs we have 12 levels, okay, and which implies that there are 12 different job categories in this particular variable, and the frequency distribution is given. Now do this for this your marriage status and tell me how many categories you have and what is the frequency distribution.
Three, sir.
3
for marital.
Right? And
3,
what
yes,
are the what is the frequency distribution?
sir. Divorce 528, married 2797, and single 119.
Okay. बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं?
Yes, sir.
चैट बॉक्स में
Yes, sir.
कोड पोस्ट कर दीजिए, चैट बॉक्स में कोड पोस्ट कर दीजिए जिन्होंने मैरिड स्टेटस वाला किया है. पोस्ट द कोड कुंदन. Everyone else? One, two, three, four, five. जो लोग ने किया है, they should continue for the other variables. Calculate the frequency distribution for other categorical variables like education, default, housing, loan, contact, day, month, and P outcome. P days and Y. अमन, तुमको इस ये कमांड से आउटपुट आया है? अमन, अमन, यू आर देयर? वो कैपिटल टी है ना, उसको स्मॉल टी करो अमन. People who have done, please move to the next variables and calculate the frequency distribution for other variables. Education, default, housing, loan, contact, day, month, P outcome. Anyone here from IT programming background? यहाँ पे कोई है?
Yes, sir.
प्रभात, अभी ये इतने लाइन हम लिख रहे हैं, इसको कोई लूप में करके रिपीट कर सकते हैं हम सारे प्रोसेस?
Yes, sir. कर सकते हैं.
In what way? Can you think of writing a command? ये लेटर से ये जो हमने 12 लाइंस, कितने लाइंस लिखी है, जो भी लिखी है, ये जो मैं सेलेक्ट कर रहा हूं स्क्रीन पे, rather than writing all the lines, can we write a loop and it does for all the variables?
सर वेरिएबल हर बार चेंज करना पड़ेगा सर उसके लिए.
नहीं, तो वो जो वेरिएबल जो चेंज हो रहा है ना, उसको ही x मानना है. वो जो लूप के अंदर जो इनपुट देना है वो x मानना है, और उसने वो कंटिन्यूअसली पहले एज लेना है, देन जॉब लेना है, देन मैरिटल स्टेटस लेना है, देन एजुकेशन लेना है. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट?
यस सर.
Yeah, that is possible.
Sir, we can
but
use summary, right? Summary command.
Yeah. I was coming to that also. We can use summary command, but summary command में ये होता है कि वो सबके लिए कैलकुलेट करके देता है, फैक्टर वेरिएबल के लिए भी और न्यूमेरिक के लिए भी.
Yes, sir.
राइट? उससे वो फैक्टर वेरिएबल में भी अगर न्यूमेरिक वैल्यू असाइंड है तो उसका भी मीन और स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन और सारी वैल्यूज कैलकुलेट करके देता है. Sorry. Okay, but we will not get into that. वो थोड़ा सा ये हो जाता है, but this repetitive task can also be, the need for repetitive task or writing repetitive codes can be reduced when you write a loop function. Okay. So, कितने variables का आपने frequency check किया? ओके, मनीष ने कर लिया है ऑलमोस्ट. सो जस्ट यूज दिस कमांड. मनीष ने जो कमांड पोस्ट किया है यहाँ पे, एंड रन दिस कमांड. मनीष, पी डेज का एक रह गया है. पी आउटकम इज देयर. या
सर पीडेज नहीं होगा ना, न्यूमेरिक लिया था ना।
अच्छा पीडेज न्यूमेरिक है, ठीक है
न्यूमेरिक है।
ठीक है ठीक है ओके। तो ये ऊपर भी मैंने न्यूमेरिक ही किया है ना उसको, पीडेज को, हाँ न्यूमेरिक ही है।
यस सर।
Okay, so run these commands. Should we move to next?
Yes sir.
Okay, ये सारे कमांड्स आप कॉपी करके आपके यहां पे पोस्ट करना है। And you run the commands. ये डेटा सेट्स आपने एस कर दिया इसको। Okay, now ये डेटा you can actually also visualize, okay, through bar diagram. We will see that, but now let us calculate so exploratory data analysis for numeric / continuous variables. As someone told, right, we can use summary command directly for the entire data set. See the output. You can use this command for a specific vector, column or variable. Using this command, right, and it gives you this specific thing, also tells you, gives you the minimum, first quartile, median, mean, third quartile and maximum. So basically ये वैल्यू से आप क्या प्लॉट कर सकते हो, ये जो वैल्यूज मैंने हाईलाइट की है उससे व्हाट काइंड ऑफ विजुअलाइजेशन यू कैन हैव, बताइए। यस, the values which I have highlighted here using
Sir,
these
they are
words.
showing the statistic of they are showing the statistic of the customer in their age data, like the
yes, yes. मनीष मैं ये
how they
पूछ रहा
are
हूँ कि
varying and
मनीष मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि ये
yes,
सब वैल्यूज आपने किसी ग्राफ पे प्लॉट किया, विजुअलाइज किया, तो कौन सा प्लॉट बनता है?
नॉर्मल
sir, nominal
नॉर्मल
distribution
बॉक्स
और
प्लॉट बनता है,
interquartile range में भी
बॉक्स।
yes sir.
बॉक्स प्लॉट बनता है। ऑल राइट, तो हम उसको वो बॉक्स प्लॉट भी बनाएंगे, हम उसका कमांड भी आई विल टेल यू। ओके, बट अभी इसमें क्या नहीं मिल रहा है, व्हाट वैल्यू यू आर नॉट गेटिंग using this particular command?
Standard deviation.
राइट, यू आर नॉट गेटिंग स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन। तो ये अभी ये समरी कमांड भी आपने आपके नोट्स में लिख करके रखना है। नाउ अदर, ठीक है, नाउ लेट अस से यू वांट ओनली मीन, then the command for that mean, you can run this for the entire data set. nahi, so you have to give specific variable and the mean age in that particular data set is 41, right? So calculating mean, the command is MEAN, within bracket you input the vector or the column or the variable. ये आसान लग रहा है अभी थोड़ा थोड़ा SPSS के कंपैरिजन में? आपको सिर्फ ये कमांड याद रखना है, एंड याद रखना है मतलब मेमोराइज नहीं करना है। आप एक नोट्स बनाइए आपके, और वो रेडी रेफरेंस रहेगा हमेशा के लिए, फॉर लाइफ टाइम। राइट, सो सिमिलरली यू विल डू दिस फॉर ऑल द कंटिन्यूअस वेरिएबल्स। द कमांड फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग द स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन right? So you have mean age as 41 and the standard deviation in age is 10. So calculate this mean or standard deviation, okay, for all the continuous variables. Now another command for this str, हमने यहाँ str यूज किया है ना, इसमें और एक कमांड है। सी आई एम नॉट टेलिंग यू अलग अलग सेम चीज के लिए डिफरेंट कमांड, सो दैट यू गाइस डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड।
अच्छा सर, जैसे हमने बोला था कि अलग अलग पैकेजेस में अलग अलग कमांड के लिए अलग अलग मतलब अलग अलग लाइब्रेरी में अलग अलग कमांड्स रहती है जो सेम आउटपुट दे सकती है।
यस यस।
So sir, there would be one command in some specific package where the function of summary would include SD also, right?
हाँ हाँ, और अगर नहीं है तो जो देखो, अगर तुमको आर का वो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन प्रोसेस पता है, सारी चीजें पता है, तो देन यू कैन राइट ऑन योर ओन एंड क्रिएट अ पैकेज। दैट इज द एडवांटेज ऑफ दिस आर, राइट? इट इज अ कम्युनिटी ड्रिवन। So you think यहाँ पे standard deviation नहीं है, so you create a package on your own and which will include the standard deviation, and I'm sure there will be command for that as well, Prateek.
Yes sir.
Right. I am not using too many packages and too many commands for the same thing, just to ensure that you guys don't get confused. तो आप कैलकुलेट कर रहे हो मीन स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन सारे वेरिएबल्स के लिए, कंटिन्यूअस वेरिएबल के लिए।
यस सर।
ओके। All right, so you guys can complete this. Now just see this. Now the entire approach of building a predictive model. Okay, so you start with your business problem. Now our business problem is to convert customers, okay, for term deposits. Right? Through what medium, what channel you are using? You are using telephone calls. Now you have the data. What you also try to understand is a specific variable का impact outcome variable पे क्या है? And that is why we discussed this particular example, duration of the call. Now let us say a person having housing loan. What would be the relationship with whether he will go for term deposit or not? Yes, tell me. बताइए.
Sir, if he has a housing loan and he is already paying somewhere, so he might not be interested in term deposit.
Right? So will it be negative or positive then? This sign?
It's a negative, sir.
Right? So this sign. So what we are telling, a person having housing loan, already paying some kind of EMI, okay, will have less likely chances that he has some surplus money and he will go for term deposit. Okay. Now, in general, before you start analyzing data, such kind of arguments, such kind of thinking should go for all the variables. Let us say there is another variable, balance. Now there is one more variable, balance and term deposit. What would be the relationship?
Sir, positive, sir.
Right,
If
positive.
A person
Because
having a
yes,
if person has a certain balance, then he might be able to pay the term deposit. So there is a chances that it will go for the term deposit.
exactly. Right. So this process of building your logic, building your argument, building your theory as to what would be the relationship without looking into the data, right, is what you call it as hypothesis development. Okay. Or
Yes, sir.
in machine learning parlance they call it as structured thinking. Okay, आपको कहीं बहुत सारे जॉब प्रोफाइल में नजर आएगा, should have structured thinking. Okay, this is what is structured thinking. Okay, before you building a model, you start generating your hypothesis, you start building your assumptions around the data. And if you look at lot of data science definition, okay, there are three things. Okay, एक तो tool है, and this tool could be R or this tool could be Python. The second strand is your knowledge of statistics or mathematics.
Tool knowledge and technique.
And the third is your domain knowledge. तो ये जो हम hypothesis build कर रहे हैं ना, for building that hypothesis you need to know your domain knowledge. अगर आप marketing में predictive model build कर रहे हो तो और कर लेटर से churn, customer churn build कर रहे हो तो आपको domain knowledge जरूरी है कि as to why customers probably leaves a particular service, right? So all of this, right, they form the various skill requirements for getting a data science role. And what is the definition? By doing all these three things, you try to solve a business problem using data, okay, to generate insights or predict future. और यही हम कर रहे हैं इस डेटा के थ्रू. Okay. So you guys will do this calculation mean and standard deviation for all the continuous variable. Then, so in next class I will show you, though in this data set there is no missing value, but I'll show you how to look into what are the missing values in your data set, and then we will go for data visualization. Let us say how a box plot of different variables, histogram of different variables, for categorical variables, the distribution in the data set. Let us say 40% is male, 60% is female. So all those distribution we will do. Then the next right. So this is your exploratory data analysis, missing values, calculating the descriptive statistics, mean, standard deviation, frequency distribution. Then the next stage is you split the data into train and test data. You build your model on train data, and you test your model on your test data using some algorithm. Now these different machine learning algorithms, I'll discuss this in the next class. So let us say logistic, support vector, descent trees, random forest, KNN, right? So nav bias. So all these kind of algorithms we use and predict the future, and then we evaluate. So all these steps we will learn and do hands-on exercise with respect to this data. So yeah, so I'll stop here. And meanwhile I expect you guys to complete those operations, calculating mean and standard deviations for continuous variable. So that's it from my side. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I'll stop here.
Atik sir?
Yes.
Sir, Madni this side.
Yes, Madni.
Sir, I joined the class around 11:15, 30 minutes late.
I
was traveling,
why?
So I was traveling and I got stuck in the railway crossing. That took time.
So you show me your screen. If you have done any kind of, if you have run the commands and codes in RStudio.
Sure, sir. Sir, I'll send you the whole project at once because I need to revisit the earlier 30 minutes I lost.
No. So whatever that you have done as of
sir,
now,
I
just
basically
share
noted
your
down the
screen.
command on the sheet of paper. I can send you the screenshot right away.
You have not created your project?
For this class, no, sir. Suppose I was attentive when we were talking about data sets.
Yeah, see, in R, there is no point being attentive if you don't write codes and all those things. I hope you will appreciate that. What is your roll number?
30.
I've marked you present.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hello, sir. Pradeep this side, sir. I have also, sir, written in the chat box earlier.
प्रदीप तुम्हारा कोड बताओ, शेयर करो स्क्रीन.
Sir,
प्रदीप
sir,
रोल
actually,
नंबर
sir,
बताओ.
I haven't done. Sir, 86.
हाँ, बताओ तुम्हारा स्क्रीन.
Sir, screen, sir, actually, abhi, sir, I haven't done that. I was actually having some trouble with the R software, so probably I'll do afterwards.
When?
Sir, today itself, sir.
And you will share the screen? Share the screenshot
Sorry,
of what you have done? Madni
yes, sir,
and
sure, sir,
Pradeep, both of you will email the screenshot of what you have done today.
Right, sir, we'll do that.
Sure, sir.
Madni, okay.
Sure, sir.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yes, should I close?
सर वो रिकॉर्डिंग वाला बता देता हूँ.
रिकॉर्डिंग वाला?
सर वो रिकॉर्डिंग की ओनरशिप नहीं, क्या डाउनलोडिंग के लिए अलाउ करने के लिए.
हाँ. तो इसका भी इसको मैं ऐसे ओके ठीक है बताओ.
सर इसका ये रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर देते फिर बता देता हूँ.
इसको हाँ जस्ट हाँ स्टॉप रिकॉर्डिंग.